Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Friday, February 28th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi, and our energy mantra for today is, I value the hand of spirit, God, universe, in my life. And here we are. We are finishing up February. March is a whole different animal coming in. On March 1st, we will have Venus going retrograde, and I will do a separate scope for that. But I feel like some of the, some of the energies that are coming through today are preparing us for this retrograde, which begins late in the afternoon on Saturday. But today, we're coming off new moon energy, and we have the moon still in Pisces, making all the connections. So, before the new moon, I felt really tired. Just exhausted. And I heard that from a lot of people. And I think all of this Pisces energy is asking us to be grounded, but still connect higher. And sometimes sleeping or meditating or dozing can help us get out of our mind and more in touch with spirit. And I feel like today, with this moon moving through the sign of Pisces, making so many connections, it's connecting to Mars and Saturn and Mercury and Uranus. As it's making all of these connections, it's just helping us move through these lessons through higher realms. So from my color cards, I have the color rest, or the color rest. This is the color rest. I have the card of rest, and I also have in my cards that I pulled the exhaustion card. And so please, if you are able, take it easy. Allow yourself rest. Allow yourself to meditate and connect in. Because it's interesting to me that even though Mars is retrograde, it's still moving slowly. We've moved another mile. Still have, 17,098 to go? Something like that. So, if you caught my reference to how slow Mars is moving. But Venus, which is going retrograde in Aries is the sign of action. So even just the fact that Venus is retrograde in Aries, again, going retrograde in Aries, is a slow down still. Slow down, connect within, return within. And I think that's going to be important because March has a lot going on. So let's go through what the moon is connecting to today. Moon and Mars, we wake up in that energy. And so you may have that desire to move. Moon and Mars, Mars, wow. Mercury is also moving into its shadow. Can you tell? I can tell. I feel it in my brain. Mars in Cancer can want to take action around the home. And so that might be where you feel your actions being called towards. And it's interesting because our first eclipse is in Virgo. And so you may find that your daily area, the place where you spend so much time, is just calling you to reorganize, spring cleaning coming in early, reorganize, release things that don't fit in your space, that don't align with who and how you are moving forward. So recognize that. You may have that call, especially as the moon activates that Mars energy. It also can bring emotions and reactions. So you may wake up feeling some feels, and it's important to let them move through, because I feel like with Venus and Aries, if you do not respond to your emotional energies, they're likely to react on you. So this is a call to spend some time with anything that you could potentially feel reactive around. Moon and Saturn, I love that next. Because Saturn's like, hey, take responsibility for what you're feeling, where you're at, what's going on. Taking responsibility is one of the highest ways that you can take your power back, but it's responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the world, but it's finding that alignment in yourself. So I love that energy. Then we have Moon and Uranus happening. That's a little bit of lazy cat, right? So watch for some lazy cat energies creeping up on you in the afternoon. And if you can rest, do so. This also can be a little triggery. The world is very triggery right now. But the moon in Pisces is like, are you connecting to God's spirit universe? Are you connecting to this higher plan? That's important. That's so important in these energies. And finally, we wind up with Moon and Mercury connecting. Now, Mercury is right here, like moving into shadow. It is finishing up in the sign of Pisces. It will be moving into Aries, but Mercury will be retrograding back into Pisces. So the moon may be revealing some hidden things. Now, the final degrees of Pisces are so interesting. Here we have Neptune. We're not going to have the moon and Neptune connecting till Saturday, but these final degrees are very karmic. And so you may have some ahas, you may have some insight. Again, this is beginning this Mercury pre-retro shade process. And so you may have some of the lessons coming through already. And some of them may go beyond this time, place, and space. So be aware of that all coming in. Now, like I said, I'm going to do this Venus retrograde scope. But do be aware, with Venus retrograde, it can be tough on relationships. But this is more about the relationship you have with yourself than anybody else. Yourself and God's spirit universe. So be aware of that. Venus retrograde can also be hard on money. It can take us to layers of exploring our worth. And some other things that we'll dig into in that Mercury retrograde or Venus retrograde scope tomorrow on Saturday or for Saturday. So let's look at these cards. Like I said, exhaustion and a call to rest. The color of rest. I love that it's green though, because green reminds me of nature. Here comes spring. And sometimes one of the most restful things you can do is sit outside and connect to nature. I had that moment today. I felt called to eat my breakfast outside. I grabbed a cat and went outside, and I just let the sun like warm me up. The universe likes that, or it sees my thumbs up when I grab the cat. They like that I took the cat with me. But it felt so recalibrating to sit out in nature and eat my food. So I encourage you to seek a little greenery, whether it's your indoor plants or being outside, or even just looking at the color green somewhere, just to recalibrate that energy. It's interesting because the first card that came out is the movement card again. And again, this card feels like these little sprouts of spring. What are the little sprouts of spring showing up for you? And again, this might be some spring cleaning energy coming in as well. But watch for overdoing it. We are overdoers as humans, many of us. It's time to not just overdo, it's time to allow ourselves to be. The flowering card is one of my favorite. And again, this feels like spring. Spring bubbling up, popping up in us. I'm not saying we're not going to still have winter. I believe the groundhog. I'm sure there's going to be more things. And yet, spring still is coming. And spring doesn't mean that we don't have snow. So it just means it's kind of a state of being, right? A state of energy, and it's a state of blooming. And so we're flowering, but that requires grounding and connection into nature. The Miser card. This feels connected to the spring cleaning energy. What are you holding on to? This might be a worth thing. This might be a money thing. What are you holding on to, and is it serving you? Part of, I think, this March energy, I did a year ahead, or not a year ahead. Come on, Mercury. A month ahead video prior to this. And one of the things that came up is just like the energy of recalibration that's happening with the eclipses coming in this month and everything. And I think that there is a call to let go of what no longer is resonating. So watch what you're holding on to, whether it's a thought or a thing, a mindset, so many different things that we might need to recalibrate. Beyond illusion, but also use your illusion. All this Pisces energy reminds us, take time to meditate, to daydream, to connect into God's spirit universe, and to recognize how potent those layers and levels are. And speaking of that, we have the nothingness card, because when we connect into all possibility. Nothingness is the possibility of everything. It's in the void. It's in the vortex. It's in the universe. It's in pure potentiality. But sometimes your work is to connect in and draw it in through your imagination. So, I'm going to leave that there for today. If you would like an eclipse reading, I suggest you get it in. Our first eclipse is coming in on the 13th. So please reach out for that or any other reading. I think this is a month of needing some extra support. I still have mini readings, regular readings. Reach out for support. And besides all that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and I always look to my light. May your guiding light be strong, and know that you can trust your process. And we are the solution. Namaste.